The Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Alhassan Suini, on Tuesday addressed the media on plans by the government to demolish the Tamale Aboabo timber market following its sale to a private developer. The MP contends that the government has been insensitive due to its failure to compensate the victims as well as provide them with an alternative. He says that the victims rely on the market as their source of livelihood.
If you tell us that the lease is dated 15th December 2020, how does it take effect on 15th August 2020? Is it that it took effect before the lease was signed? Apart from this, what does this say about that press conference that was held in 2021 by the Regional Lands Commission to assure the people that nothing was happening to that land and that that land had not been sold? Clearly, there is something that is not right with the narrations that we are getting from the minister and also from the Regional Lands Commission. Now, the timber market is a place that a lot of traders in timber products have used to earn their livelihood and to support their children and to also respond to other family commitments. In fact, that place has been a business center long before I was born. And yet, in the minister's answer, he says that there are no permanent structures there. And so, this private developer that they have given the land to can go there and demolish whatever structure is there without paying compensation to anybody. There is also no proposal to reallocate the people if there's a need to even use that land for another purpose. So this is so insensitive. Even if we agree that the government should redevelop that land, the approach is insensitive.
But the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abdullahi Janapo, says that the victims would be duly compensated.
The matters relating to the Tamale Aboabo market are beyond and above reproach. The records are there for all of us to appreciate. It forms part of the broader scheme of government redevelopment. The leases which were granted before I assumed office, and the people who are authorized to grant leases in favor of private developers are the Lands Commission acting in the name of the President. And that is what happened on the 29th August 2020. As I said, again, they claim that there are permanent structures and it's going to affect individuals and it's insensitive. That also is another palpable falsehood. There are no permanent structures there. The place has been inspected. There are containers and kiosks there. And indeed, as I speak to you and as I indicated in my answer, the Lands Commission and the lessee are working with all stakeholders, including the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, to make sure that these individuals are compensated adequately. And above all, this is not going to be a development for the sole benefit of the developer. This is going to be a commercial development. And we have all seen Airport City in Accra under President Rawlings through redevelopment, where the President Rawlings' government invited private developers to raise the landscape of the Airport City, which is now lifted and giving us a facelift as a capital, as a national capital. That is exactly what we want to do in Aboabo. And indeed, they will be compensated, they will be catered for, we are going to be sensitive to them, and the development is rather going to benefit the people of Tamale, on the contrary.
Following the announcement of the absence of President Akufo-Addo from the country by the second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Amoako-Esiama, the Majority Leader, Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu, raised concerns about the constitutional provision which requires that the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, acts in his stead.
I don't think that mere absence from the jurisdiction should be construed to mean that the President is not able to perform the functions of his office. He leaves to the United Nations to attend conferences as the President of the Republic. How can anybody construe that to mean that the mere fact that he's outside amounts to inability to perform the functions of his office? When he's there, recognizably, as the President of the Republic, and is performing the functions of the office of the president. And I think that, Mr. Speaker, it should be part of our engagement. It's the reason why some of us are proposing a holistic review of this constitution. Because there are so many things that really, come to think of it, are incongruous with reality. The president's absence from the Republic does not mean, if it is maybe for medical reasons, his travels outside, he's not able to perform his functions for the time being, maybe lasting 2-3 days. That then could lend credence to this provision. But if he goes to perform the functions of his office in his capacity as a president, and you swear in a new president, an acting president, in other words, then you're having two presidents operating concurrently. And that is not what is envisaged by the Constitution. So I think that as a House, we should apply ourselves critically to this, and then the Speaker make the necessary modifications to this.
You remember very well the Constitutional Amendment Commission, the work that they have done. I keep asking, what is preventing us as a country from implementing the recommendations? Because since the Citi Parliament, since 2013, we have virtually iced it. And all of us keep talking about the constitutional amendment. Yet a lot of work has been done. It is just to implement and finish it. And we've left it hanging. And yet all of us keep complaining about it. Are we anticipating another all over a fresh amendment? Because remember what they did was very extensive. Mr. Speaker, I have said, with a greater respect, that there's nothing in the constitution that we currently have. Simply helps us to elect a dictator. Because if you look at the constitution, all it does is to create a monster president who is a superhuman being, who does almost everything. And a lot of those checks had to be corrected. Because what we are doing simply, what we have, the constitution that we created, simply creates a super, what do you call, we give so much power to the president.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayikwe Okain for Citi News.